Welcome back to the Chattable podcast, where enrich vocabulary and speak English with Stride. Today, we have a really fascinating mission for you.
We really do. And I'm so glad you joined us for this deep dive.
Yeah, we are going to look at two incredibly vivid English idioms. And these are phrases native speakers use to describe damaging something, especially someone's reputation.
Right, because mastering English, it isn't just about memorizing words from a list. It is really about painting pictures with those words.
Exactly. It is about the visual imagery. And today's phrases offer this really stark contrast.
They do. We are comparing a slow, highly precise method of destruction with a method that is fast, very public, and just incredibly messy.
So let's start with the slow demolition. The first phrase for you to learn today is to chip away, or to chip away at something.
That is a great starting point. To really understand how native speakers use this, we have to look at its literal physical origins.
Right, like where the phrase actually comes from.
Exactly. So I want you to picture someone holding a small tool, like a small chisel and a little hammer.
Okay, I am picturing it. Like a stone carver.
Yes, like a stone carver working on a huge rock or a block of wood, and they repeatedly strike that rock, tap, tap, tap.
Oh, I see. So you aren't smashing the stone with one giant explosive blow. You are just tapping it repeatedly.
Precisely. You are knocking off one tiny piece, one chip at a time. It is a slow, continuous process.
Well, since this sounds like destroying a rock, is this phrase always used in a negative way? Like ruining someone's confidence?
That is a really fantastic question, and the answer is no. It can actually be both negative and highly positive.
Oh, really? It depends on the context.
It completely depends on what exactly is being chipped away. Let's look at the positive application first.
Yeah, we have a great case study for this from our sources. It is about a woman named Rachel.
Right, Rachel. And for Rachel, the giant rock she was facing was her massive student loan debt.
Which, I mean, that is such a common feeling. Having a massive debt can feel like this impossible, immovable mountain.
It feels totally overwhelming. But Rachel realized she couldn't destroy the mountain in one day. So she started making small payments every single month.
I get it. So by paying a little bit each month, she was able to chip away at the debt.
Exactly. She made a huge problem smaller through continuous, steady hard work. That is a very positive use of the phrase.
But we should also talk about the negative side. Because it gets used in darker ways too, right?
It absolutely does. We can look at a recent real-world example for this. The courtroom clash between Elon Musk and Sam Altman of OpenAI.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Two absolute titans in the technology industry.
Right. And in their legal battles, they weren't throwing actual punches. They were chipping away at each other's reputations.
So instead of one massive attack, it was a series of brutal piece-by-piece character attacks over a long period of time.
Exactly. A little insult here, a legal challenge there, slow, continuous damage to how the public views them.
Wait, I want to clarify something for our listeners here.
Yeah.
So what if a massive company goes completely bankrupt overnight?
Okay, let's play that out.
Like they lose all their money in 24 hours. Did they chip away at their savings?
Oh, no, definitely not. That is a really important distinction to make.
So it doesn't work for sudden events?
Never. The phrase chip away must involve a slow, continuous process. It is never used for a sudden, massive change or an overnight collapse.
Got it. So if chipping away is like a slow, precise chisel to someone's reputation, what about our second phrase?
Well, our next phrase is the exact opposite. It is fast, highly public, and incredibly messy.
I am intrigued. What is the phrase?
The idiom is to drag through the mud, or to drag someone's name through the mud.
Wow, that paints a very intense picture. Let's visualize this one for the listener.
So imagine someone walking down the street, and they're wearing beautiful, completely clean clothes.
Okay, looking very respectable.
Yes. Now imagine knocking that person into a dirty, wet street and literally pulling them along the ground.
Oh, that is brutal. Their clothes would be completely ruined.
Exactly. And in this phrase, the mud represents ugly gossip. It represents lies and terrible insults.
So the whole goal is to make the person look dirty and unrespectable to the general public.
That is the exact goal. It is an intentional attempt to destroy someone's public image using filth.
Where do we typically see this kind of behavior? I mean, who is doing this?
Well, you see it a lot in celebrity gossip or in really bitter arguments between former friends, but it is especially common in politics.
Oh, right. Politics is famous for this, like during the presidential primary election.
Yes, the primary elections are a perfect example. Even candidates within the exact same political party will do this.
Really? even if they agree on mostly everything.
Oh, yes. They will drag their opponents through the mud, digging up old scandals or making up rumors just to gain a campaign advantage.
Because they want to make the other candidate look so dirty that the voters won't support them.
Precisely. It is a very aggressive, very public strategy.
I have a scenario for you, though.
No.
Let's test the boundaries of this phrase.
All right, let's hear it.
What if a teacher, let's say, is reading an essay by a student named Sophia?
Okay, a teacher and a student.
And the teacher points out all of Sophia's grammatical mistakes in red ink. Is the teacher dragging Sophia through the mud?
Oh, I have to firmly push back on that. No, absolutely not.
Why not? The teacher's pointing out her flaws, right?
Yes, but polite, professional, or helpful criticism is never dragging someone through the mud. The teacher is genuinely helping Sophia learn.
Ah, I see. So what is the missing ingredient there?
Malice. To truly drag someone through the mud, the attack has to be cruel, it has to be unfair, and it has to be intended to cause public shame.
Right. It has to be about humiliation, not education. Our sources actually have a great example of this with a man named Oliver.
Yes, the situation with Oliver is a textbook example of dragging someone through the mud.
Because Oliver had an ex-business partner who was furious with him, right?
Exactly, and this ex-partner tried to completely ruin Oliver's image.
By publicly lying about him to all their clients.
Yes, the ex-partner was calling Oliver lazy and incompetent to anyone who would listen. It was cruel, and it was entirely based on lies.
So the lies were the mud, and the ex-partner was dragging Oliver through it to humiliate him and hurt his business.
You've got it perfectly. That is exactly how native English speakers use that phrase.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into these two phrases. Let me briefly recap the lesson for you before we go.
Please do. It is always good to review.
So when you want to describe a slow, gradual reduction over time, use the phrase chip away at.
Like Rachel slowly chipping away at her massive student loans.
Exactly. And when you want to describe a cruel, highly public ruining of a reputation, use the phrase drag through the mud.
Like a politician using nasty gossip to ruin an opponent's image.
Perfect. Now, to wrap up our deep dive today, do you have a final thought for our listeners to ponder?
I do, actually, and it builds right on these visual phrases. I want you to think about how the internet and social media have changed these idioms.
Oh, that is interesting, because the internet is so permanent.
Exactly. In the digital age, if someone spreads lies about you online, does the mud ever truly wash off? Or does a ruined digital reputation mean you are permanently covered in that mud forever?
That is a deeply provocative thought to leave on. The internet really does change the rules of the game, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes the mud so much harder to clean.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the English language.
It was my pleasure. I hope these visual images really help you remember the phrases.
Me too. We encourage all of you listening to practice using these visual phrases in your everyday English conversations. Keep learning, and we will see you next time.